You know that toothbrush sitting on your bathroom counter? It seems so simple, right? Well, its history is anything but. It's actually kind of bizarre and way more important than you'd think. Today, we're going to dive into the absolutely incredible story of how we went from cleaning our teeth with some, let's just say, questionable stuff to the daily habit we all know now.
So, what if I told you that the story of your toothbrush involves pig hair, a world war, and, yep, even urine? I know, it sounds crazy, but this really sets the stage for just how wild this journey is going to be. We're talking strange concoctions, brilliant inventions, and a huge cultural shift that was kicked off by one of the biggest events in modern history.
Okay, so to really get how we ended up with our modern toothbrush, we've got to go back. Way back. We're talking about a time when oral hygiene was, let's call it creative. For literally thousands of years, people were trying to clean their teeth, and some of their methods, whoa, they were pretty extreme.
Let's just look at some of these methods. You had the Romans who famously used urine as a mouthwash. And believe it or not, there was a reason for it. The ammonia in it actually worked as a cleansing and whitening agent. So maybe it was effective, but still, wow. And it doesn't stop there. Over in ancient Egypt, you had people using powdered mouse skulls. And in medieval Europe, things like brick dust and crushed oyster shells were the go-to abrasive powders.
But the most common tool, the one that was really the direct ancestor of our toothbrush, was this, the chewing stick. We're talking ancient Babylonians and Egyptians way back around 3500 BC. They'd just take a twig, maybe from an aromatic tree to help freshen their breath, and fray one end of it, and that became their brush. For thousands of years, this simple little thing was the world's go-to tool for cleaning your teeth.
So, that begs the question, right? How did we get from just a frayed stick to an actual brush with bristles? Well, funny enough, that big leap forward didn't happen in Europe. It actually happened on the other side of the world.
This timeline really shows that leap forward perfectly. It all started in 15th century China. They were the ones who invented the very first bristled toothbrush by taking coarse hairs from a pig's neck and sticking them onto a bone or bamboo handle. Pretty clever. Eventually, that idea traveled all the way to Europe, and that's where, around 1780, an Englishman named William Addis saw an opportunity. He started mass-producing them, using cattle bone for the handle and slightly softer swine bristles. And from that point on, the design just got better and better.
Now, for centuries, every single toothbrush was made with some kind of animal hair. But then we get to the 1930s, and a huge scientific breakthrough happens in a corporate lab, and it was about to change everything. Forever.
And that breakthrough was nylon. Yep, back in 1935, a chemist at DuPont, a guy named Wallace Carothers, invented this totally revolutionary synthetic fiber made from petroleum. And what they used it for first, it's probably not what you're thinking. It's going to surprise you.
You see, before nylon was used for stockings, it was used for toothbrushes. On February 24, 1938, a brand new product called Dr. West's Miracle Tuft hit the shelves. The big selling point? It was this amazing new, hygienic, reliable alternative to yucky animal bristles. It was a total game changer for the toothbrush itself, but the actual habit of brushing your teeth every day, that still wasn't really a thing for most people.
So, nylon made toothbrushes way better, cheaper, and easier to get. But what did it take to actually get people to use them every day? Well, it took something massive. It took World War II to turn brushing from something people did once in a while into a daily ritual for pretty much an entire nation.
This is kind of hard to believe now, but before the 1940s, most Americans just didn't brush their teeth daily. But the military, they'd learned a tough lesson back in World War I. You see, soldiers had terrible nutrition and almost no oral hygiene, and tons of them got this awful, painful gum infection called trench mouth. The military was absolutely determined not to let that happen again.
So when World War II kicked off, the U.S. military made oral hygiene a huge priority. Every single soldier got a hygiene kit that had a toothbrush and tooth powder in it, and brushing their teeth every day, it was now mandatory. You had to do it. For millions and millions of GIs, this was the very first time in their lives they were ever made to brush their teeth on a consistent daily basis. And here's the kicker. When all those millions of soldiers came home, they brought that habit with them. That military discipline just stuck. They taught their families how to do it. Think about this. Before the war, less than half of Americans were brushing regularly. But by the early 1950s, that number shot up to way over 50%. It completely changed the country's dental health.
So this huge cultural shift, which was really born out of military necessity, created this massive new market. And that paved the way for the whole modern era of dental care that we have today.
And that momentum just kept building after the war. In 1950, companies started making even softer nylon bristles, which finally made brushing feel comfortable. Not like you were using those harsh animal hairs from the old days. And then, just a few years after that, boom, the first electric toothbrush was invented. And really, the innovation hasn't stopped since.
So there you have it, the whole wild story. We went from urine and frayed twigs to pig hair and finally to a global war that turned this simple little tool into a cornerstone of our daily lives. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's next?